What's up, Valkyrie fans? Your host with most Griever, as always, bringing you guys the final episode, for now, of Season 2222 of Ragnarok. Let's get underway with this review, because this is episode 10. Of course, they split up the season into two parts, because that's the hip new thing to do on Netflix and all that fun jazz. But I don't get it, I don't like it, but it is what it is. But this episode... Okay, I still say that the last episode I enjoyed more. I really did. I enjoyed episode 9 more than I think episode 10 initially. Maybe because I knew what was going to happen, of course, reading the manga. This was a huge development that still to this day has screwed up the numbers on Humanity God's side. No spoilers for round 6, of course, but... yeah, big ending credit scene, post-credit scene at the end of the ending, stuff like that in this episode. We knew it was coming. Us manga fans, we knew it was coming, but it was still pretty cool to see. It's still pretty damn cool to see. This episode did exactly what I thought it would. It takes the first about 9-10 minutes, ends off round 5. Shiva defeated Raiden, and it was well done. It was well handled, and all the post-credit scene seemed to flow perfectly, and I really like the fact that they ended a certain scene as the technical end of the first part. You know what I mean? Because we can continue that scene rather than like really shorten it and stuff. We can drag it out. There's a scene I was hoping to use for the thumbnail. I had that scene continued, and we'll talk about that in a second for the thumbnail, because it's one of my favorite scenes. It really was well done in the manga, and I hope to see it done well in part 2 because it wasn't in this episode. But so round 5 ends, the animation was good, Thrud stays with Raiden until the very end and stuff. Didn't have to. This is interesting. This is very interesting, because it's not until this round we learn that the Volans, if they know, the Valkyrie can abandon. They can split. We know that they can split from, of course, the successes of Sasuke and Jack after the fight. They're not bound together for life. It's not like Potara fusion before Dragon Ball Super fucked that all up. But it's not permanent. It is not permanent. It can actually be resolved. And the fact of the matter is, it's not. There's no conditions about winning a fight or anything like that, because Raiden says, Thrud, I'm about to lose. I'm probably not going to win this one, so you better hightail it out of here so I can do my final Yatagarasu, so I can do my final attack. And Thrud says, no, I'm not leaving you, sort of idea, and they stick together to the very end. So that implies a lot of things. This means that we didn't get a lot of conversation or anything really with Adam and the two losers, so to speak, with Adam and Lu Bu, between them and their Valkyrie. There was much more conversation between Jack. As we go down, actually, round 4 and 5 is the first time we really get to see Jack interact with Halak, his Volander, or his Valkyrie, and Thrud and Raiden interacted a lot more than previous fights did, right? So... but this does still imply that the Valkyries refuse to abandon, even against Thor and against Zeus. Both Valkyries refuse to give up on Lu Bu and Adam. There's a lot to be said for that going forward for the rest of the series. The rounds mean a lot more, knowing the Valkyrie can be saved if they so choose, but they stand fast with their human regardless. That's a big deal. I think that is undersold and like shadowed a lot of the time. I think I'm looking for a better word for that. But either way, this implies a lot here at the beginning of the episode and stuff. And of course, the Yatagarasu, it's done extremely well. They actually showcase everything. They showcase the brutality that we really haven't seen. I'm going to be honest with you guys. We really haven't seen this level of brutality since the Lu Bu fight. We haven't seen this level. I mean, you can argue a little bit Adam Zeus, but we haven't really seen something to this degree. The whole, like, the tearing off of, or the crushing of Shiva's arm, and then this. This was the most brutal thing we've seen, I would argue, since Lu Bu couldn't stand on his own goddamn feet. Was, boom, the kick squares off and just rips the Yatagarasu and Raiden's arm clean in half, split down the middle, and gone. Useless. And the animation was done incredibly well for this. They didn't shy away from it. The decapitation at the end, it was handled extremely well. I just really like the ending of this fight. Round 5 has certainly gone up a notch. I would say right now, see, here's the thing. I still think that the first 4 rounds are better, but I will say that round 5 is directly below them. Regardless of my order of the first 4 rounds, I think that I have a new appreciation for round 5. In fact, a lot of people love round 3, and I see why, but the problem that I have with round 3 is I didn't really give much of a shit about Poseidon and still don't. So even though round 3 was really cool, I don't know. I don't know where I'd rank them, but round 5 has certainly gone up as high as it can given this episode. Episode 10 did a fantastic job of showcasing the ending of that. They didn't shy away from the crushing defeat of Raiden with the arm and the decapitation and stuff. Raiden, I have no regrets. And then Shiva learning respect. Finally, and this hits home more now too, with him meeting up with Rudra and being able to be like my friend, you know, and stuff, and him holding him up. His fire form looks amazing. Shiva looks so badass here in the anime. The colorization really helps with the hair and everything changed. The colorization and all the burnt bits of his limbs and stuff like that. Shiva looking so badass with his red skin and stuff. Like, a lot of appreciation there. And the OST was really good, leading up as the sumo, you know, say farewell to Raiden. He had an amazing fight. And also Zeus, Shiva and Zeus, the two big humanity as peasants. They're trash, they're bugs sort of idea. Gaining heavy levels of appreciation, not necessarily for humanity, but for certain humans. Shiva has learned a little bit of respect. They've both learned respect, and the fact that Zeus comes up to Shiva as the two gods who disrespected humanity and have survived their fights now have found respect. Because as I said, human, no, Raiden. You know, sort of idea. And same with Zeus saying, like, had this been a battle in endurance, you would have beat me, Adam. They've both learned respect, and it's a nice camaraderie between Shiva, the leader of the Hindu pantheon, and of course Zeus being the head of all the gods in this universe, but also the Greek pantheon, right? So, very, very interesting. Really liked it. Just really enjoyed that entire segment. And then, of course, we move on from there. We get the scene. So that's basically the first half of the episode, as we assumed. Brunhilde mentions the great line about Adam, like, because Goal says, listen, I know we want to save humans. I know it's the right thing to do, but why? Why do you want to save them so bad? Brunhilde doesn't give a real answer, just uses Adam's remark about, is there any reason we would not save our children? I like the idea that, once again, they're half human. So it's like, if we don't stand up for them, if we're not the one voice of reason like Heracles was, like Brother Heracles, who will? The gods aren't going to be able to relate, so now some of them can. Like, Thor has a respect for Lu Bu and misses him. Jack misses Heracles. Sasuke won his thing, but like Adam was respected by Zeus, and now Raiden has been heavily respected by Shiva. So, you know, it is what it is. And she uses the line, but she gives basically a non-answer. She's not really describing her reasoning. She goes to, you know, this is taking a lot of toll on her. Interestingly enough, because we know it's not really a spoiler for the next part, because we know with the end credits scene, Buddha decides to fight for mankind. There's a whole scene, we'll talk about that. I'm curious, it's never revealed in the manga from what I understand, and might be revealed here in the anime, who was going to fight against Buddha? Who was the choice? Or did Brunhilde know the entire time? And once again, that post-credit scene in the first season with Brunhilde and Hermes sort of talking, what was that about? Because, like, do they know the order? Like, is Hermes feeding Brunhilde information on who's fighting who? Because they don't actually know. That was the big thing about round 2. They have no idea who's going to be sent out. Because, of course, Zeus was pinch hit, and that surprised, you know, Brunhilde and stuff like that, and didn't assume that. She wanted an early one with Adam. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that going forward. So we don't actually know who was supposed to fight Buddha on mankind's side. Who would Brunhilde had picked. You know, we have no idea. We don't really see her. The other scene, we get two other scenes, of course, before the end credit scene. We get the one where Zeus goes up to Buddha and basically says, it's a nice scene between Buddha and Zeus, because it shows that Buddha doesn't, like, he doesn't think Zeus is above him or anything like that, and basically says, hey, I want you to fight in round 6, so go do it. And Buddha says, yeah, alright, and then, of course, betrays them and stuff, and Odin's pissed, Loki is livid and stuff like that, of course, and that's a pretty good scene. Well done, well handled by the voice actors and stuff, of course. Then Goal goes and talks goes to the infirmary to go find Brunhilde a bandage because she's really pissed off, and when she takes her alone time, she slams her hand against the wall and it's bleeding, so she's looking for a band-aid and all this stuff. We get this scene with the 7 lucky gods, and they're basically surrounding Gold. What are you doing? Eavesdropping on us and stuff like that, because they're pissed at Buddha, of course, or Ibusu is pissed at Buddha, and then Jack intervenes. There's Jack. My, would you care for a cup of tea, gentlemen? Why, I'm speaking Shakespeare, of course. Gentlemen, and stuff. Just being the suave motherfucker that he is. The scene that continues on after this, because of course the scene is not over, but that's how the episode ends. That scene is going to be incredible. That's going to be a really good scene. I hope it's handled well and well paced, because it showcases something that I don't want to spoil for anime-only people. I'm trying my best here. I don't want to spoil it, but it's one of my favorite scenes. It's one of my in-between rounds, one of my favorite scenes after this. It's probably... yeah, it's one of the best scenes that showcases the aftermath, the after effects. Because remember, the victors are still here. Thor, though we don't get to see Thor. We don't see Thor. We do get to see Thor in the anime. We do get to see Thor in the anime, but in the manga, we have yet to see Thor again. From what I remember, I don't think we even see him once. We might have seen him in one shot, but Thor has been disinterested since round 1. We have not seen him. And Zeus, of course, has been a part of everything. Sasaki has now, in between scenes, we're starting to see him. And he's chilling with the Shinsengumi right now and stuff. Jack, after his round, we get to see him again and stuff. So this is the cool thing that's going to start happening slowly but surely as the rounds continue, is that in between rounds and during rounds, we're going to get to see the winners of their respective rounds and now their opinions. Whether they're, thinking this, that, or the other thing and stuff. And of course, it's just incredibly interesting to me to see these interactions in between scenes. They've already won their fight, they have mixed feelings about those fights and stuff like that, and getting to see them interact with other characters is incredibly interesting, so we get more of characters we really enjoyed in the round. They're not just one and done, if they're not dead, we do get to see them post-round, so that's really cool. As I said, the post-credit scene is handled extremely well. Interestingly enough, I never pictured this scene at nighttime. I never pictured this scene happening at nighttime. I never pictured round 6 happening in the evening, or it seems to be nighttime. I never pictured that. I always pictured round 4 to be at night, because that was sort of showcased. I don't believe it was ever showcased that round 6 happens at night. Maybe it does. I don't remember. I haven't reread that round. So if it does, my apologies, but I always pictured both round 5 and 6 to be during the day. So interesting, very interesting. I'm going to look forward to seeing the choices here with this new dynamic, because we just gotta, and I like the fact that they're jumping between. Round 4 is at night, round 5 is during the day, round 6, now we're doing the evening, or doing the, in the AM sort of idea, Morning's not here yet, and I have a feeling round 6 is going to end with the dawn once again, just like it did with round 4, ending that off. So, going to be incredibly interesting, that much being said. This is a huge shocker to anybody who's an anime only, of course. Buddha being the one to say, nah, I'm a traitor. And as I said, this has still, to this day, up to the latest chapter, which, still hasn't been translated yet. Round 8 is not over. We're up to round 8, and round 8 is not over. But, yeah, it's incredibly interesting here. It's incredibly interesting, the fact that this has screwed up the order and the number of characters and blah, blah, blah. We don't really know how that's going to be fixed yet. We have no idea. It's still, the God side was filled, but now there's one too many people fighting for humanity. How's that going to go down? I'm just going to throw out my theory. I always assume that one of the human fighters is going to be found dead or killed before their round. Or they're going to fight in between rounds and they're going to die. Or be in no shape to fight. How's that? Like maybe Loki and Okita go at it before their round. Who knows? Because that's been heavily implied here in this part 1 of season 2. So because we got a lot more of that and then in the manga. So yeah, I think that this episode was very well paced. It did everything I expected it to do. We're starting off round 6. We got all the post-credit stuff or post-between round stuff out of the way. And now we're going to start off round 6, which very controversial round. We'll see how part 2 handles it. We got 6 episodes to handle round 6. I think that's fair because the backstories are a little bit longer than round 5's was, and even round 4's. Some of the longest backstories are definitely in round 7 and 8, but round 6 is no slouch when it comes to the amount of pages for their backstory. So we'll have to wait and see about that. Who's Buddha gonna fight? Who knows? But we'll wait and see about that. Hope you guys enjoyed. So far, part 1 of season 2 has been nothing short of awesome. I really enjoyed it. You know, I think only episode, was it 7? Yeah, episode 7 was probably the weakest episode for me. Episode 4, a little too heavy on the CGI. But outside of those two more major complaints about the episodes, each episode has been, at the very least, good, if you know, and enjoyable at the very least, if not overall like being awesome or something like that. I still have episodes, 5 and episode 9 so far being like 2 of my favorites. Episode 6 and 10 are pretty solid too. Episode 1, of course, opening up and shooting down, boom, 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 all those naysayers that said that season 2 was going to be just as bad or worse than season 1. Clearly that's not the case. But yeah, so what did you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Yeah, that's all 10 episodes reviewed. I hope you guys have been enjoying them, and we will definitely be back for episode 11 when it drops. Apparently it's dropping sometime in the summer. That's the latest I've heard. Maybe it's sooner, maybe it's later. I have no idea, but I'm sure I'll find out. So stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always, and we will see you guys again for more Record of Ragnarok, also known as Shumatsu no Valkyrie, content in the future. I'll be here. Have a good one, everybody. Sayonara.